Welcome everyone, and thank you for coming. My name is Becky Harris, and I am an Educational Technology Master's student at the University of Arkansas. Through this presentation, I would like to acquaint you with two of my projects, an instructional design model titled Think, Then Do, and an instructional project titled Fiscal Procedures for Student Employees. I'll end with a brief summary of the experiences I encountered while using the model to create the project. This is an overview of the Think, Then Do model. As an educational technology graduate student, I have been introduced to many educational theories, learning concepts, and instructional models. The Think, Then Do model is a blending of several theories, concepts, and models that I found effective and inspiring. Its intent is to support instructional design for learners of all ages and to provide guidance and direction to both new and seasoned instructional designers. The model is designed to encourage thought before action and evaluation before and after development. Several theoretical backgrounds contributed to the design of the model. Learning theories like learning styles and multiple intelligences highlight the complexities of learning and the learner in the 21st century. It is these complexities that brought forth the idea that at any point in time, every one of these theories, individually or combined, will meet an educational or instructional need. The theories incorporated into the Think, Then Do model are behaviorism, cognitivism, constructivism, 21st century skills, and humanism. These are the theoretical theories blending. 5 learning theories were blended to create the Think, Then Do model. Each theory contributed a specific purpose, and their incorporation into the objectives, methods, and design could increase the self-esteem and motivation of the learner. Behaviorism contributed the awareness that a learner requires reinforcement. Cognitivism encourages us to incorporate repetition and practice into the lesson. Constructivism reminds us to allow the learner the freedom to interpret and solve the problem in his or her own way. Incorporating 21st century skills supports the learner's acquisition of skills necessary to succeed in a digital age. And humanism, to empower the learner to become an active participant in their own learning. The instructional design model backgrounds used in the model provide organization, structure, guidance to the design process. And like the learning theories, they are complex and numerous. Unlike learning theories, they are flexible and interchangeable. Each one of these models was designed to satisfy a particular style or need, but can, with a little creativity, accommodate other styles or needs. The ID models incorporated into the Think, Then Do model are ADDIE, ISMAN, Assure, ID4T, and Pebble in the Pond. The ID models were also blended to create the instructional design model, Think, Then Do. The Think, Then Do model is a blending of 5 very good ID models. So what portion of these models provided the influences for the new design? Let's take a look. First and foremost is the ADDIE model. ADDIE is the acronym for Analysis, Design, Development, Implement, and Evaluate. The ADDIE model is well supported and very effective. The analysis phase is what stands out in this model because of its focus on so many of the initial details. The next influential model is the ISBN model. Its steps are input, process, output, feedback, and learning. It is structured and worded like a computer process and is a good reminder that instruction and learning are processes and cyclic in nature. We never stop teaching and we never stop learning. Next is the Assure model. It is well known and well supported like the ADDIE model, but its steps are different. The steps are: analyze the learner, state the standards and objectives, select the strategies, technology, media, and materials, utilize the technology, media, and materials, require learner participation, and evaluate and revise. This is a very learner-centered model, and the only model with a require learner participation step. The ID4T model is next. ID4T stands for Instructional Design for Teachers. It has a systematic approach and has principles instead of steps. The principles are: know where you are going, know your learners, be creative with your activities and media, do drafts, test against a similar population, and revise, align, and do ID all the time. This model has flexibility and common sense, two important features for anything that we do. And the last ID model that provided influence is the pebble in the pond model. The pebble in the pond model has a task-centered problem-solving approach that builds with activation of learning, demonstration of learning, application of learning, and integration of learning. Its progression approach with increasing complexity is an excellent reminder that knowledge builds. Therefore, the Think Then Do ID model is a blending of all the aforementioned theories and models. It is inspired by the belief that behaviorism, cognitivism, constructivism, 21st century skills, and humanism can and should work together to inform, include, and inspire the learners of today. It is also inspired by the plethora of acronyms, steps, and processes offered by the many models that guide the designer in the creation of effective instruction. The Think Then Do model embraces two stages. The climb up, indicating the most challenging part of instructional design, and the climb down as the finishing up part of instructional design. The model steps are: identify, objectives, methods, design, pre-evaluation, develop, create, implement, and post-evaluation. And although it can be argued that both the think and the do stages are equally challenging, the important point is that the better the plan, the better the chances of success. Another contributor to the chances of success are the two evaluation steps, one for the think stage and one for the do stage. The individual steps will be explained shortly. So now we have the application of the model to the instructional project. The instructional project was needed was a small training session to implement employment procedures for graduate assistants. I split the project into two stages, like the model, and did all the thinking and planning first. This is the think stage. I began by identifying the subject, goals, audience, and prior knowledge. I want to teach graduate assistant employment procedures to fiscal support specialists. The audience are accounting personnel with prior knowledge of the accounting and word processing system. But on the objectives, I thought about what I want to accomplish. I need to establish instruction and procedures on how to submit a new hire transaction, how to enter the salary funding source, how to submit a tuition waiver, and how to generate an employment contract. I also have a time objective. This instruction should take no more than 2 hours of the employee's time. The next step is the method step. How am I going to do this? I would prefer this to be a live lecture in a computer lab. This provides the opportunity for lecture, hands-on training, questions, and instant feedback. I have 4 teaching objectives. Will they be delivered at the same time? And will they take just as long? So far, what we're looking at seems to be working. The next thing to think about is the design step. The who does what step is what I call it. A faculty classroom computer lab with presentation equipment will be needed for the entire length of the project. Actually, the entire length of the presentation. A subject matter expert will be needed to provide instructional content, possibly 2 experts, one for the accounting system and one for the word processing system. A workbook, sample data, and possibly an FAQ webpage for future support will be needed, and a feedback form to give out after the learning is completed. And then we look at the pre-evaluation. We look everything over. I looked everything over. I thought about the steps, the content, the learners. Does everything that I'm asking for, looking for, hoping for, is everything feasible? If not, go back, rethink it, and revise. If yes, proceed to the do stage. The do stage of the model is where the planning meets the action. We start with the develop step and bring together the team. Go over the objectives and methods identified earlier. Develop a timetable. Assign tasks and responsibilities. The employment procedures project was small and only required advising from one subject matter expert. The create step was next. This is my favorite step because I like to make and create things. This is where all the details, planning, and meetings comes together to produce that brilliant instructional project. There are lecture notes, workbooks, handouts, presentation slides, and evaluation materials to create. This is also one of the least forgiving steps. If you make a mistake on anything, someone will find it. The implement step is where the teamwork shines and the learning can finally take place. Incorporating a few practice sessions before the actual instructional delivery is always advised and will be done with this instructional project. This step has yet to occur for this project, but I have no doubt that it will come together very well. And finally, there is the post-evaluation. Because it is a live session, a feedback handout was designed for completion by the learners. A post-evaluation report will be requested from the instructor also, and did, in conjunction with the surveys, will assist with any changes or updates that may be needed for this project. So, how did it go? How did the model work? What didn't work? I am happy to report that the model worked. It guided me through the entire design process. At times it seemed like there were too many steps, and at times it seemed like I needed more steps. I created a project management checklist with these steps and added a lot of sub-steps. The bottom line is that instructional design is an involved and lengthy process. The model, utilized as a guide like it is intended, supported the design process from beginning to end. Thank you for attending this presentation. I hope you found it informative and instructive. Thank you.